There should not be partially dependency columns. And what is dependency? We discuss here. Suppose non-primary key columns when it was linked, or else it was linked with a primary key column, a primary key column, or else it is depends on a primary key column. Then these all columns are called as a fully dependency columns we call, because every student name, open, every student name, every branch name of student, address of the student, everything will be linked with the student ID. So that means your complete student details are, it depends on student ID I can fetch. So that means your all details are depends on or linked with the student ID. So in this kind of situation, with one column the remaining data when you want to fetch, so that kind of situation is called as what now? Fully dependency columns are we called. So these are all are fully dependency. So fully dependency columns, if it was there in the table, I don't want to do any modifications. Okay, I just carry forward into next level. Okay, but in case your table is having partially dependency columns, partially means what now? Not supporting full fledged. It was supporting only half of them. So for example, you can say what is partially dependency? Means that in a table, if non-key column, non-key column means non-primary key column. So non-primary key column depends on the part of key column. It's not key column, it's a part of key column. Okay, when a non-primary key columns are depends on it's a part of key columns, then we called as what now? Partially dependency we called. So now, for example, can you see there are total 4 columns I designed here. The total 4 columns I designed here. Out of 4 columns, can you observe my column A comma B? I was applied what now? Primary key. And we already discussed in the constants, when we applied your primary key on multiple combination of columns, the type of constants are called a composite constants we called. So your 2 column, that is called a composite, otherwise okay, we called as your table level constant we called. So now here, okay, come to A comma B is both are primary key columns. C comma D both are non-primary key columns. So then what it was saying here, if C comma D are non-key columns, then D depends on B but not A. C depends on B but not A. D depends on A but not B. C depends on A but not B. So that means in primary key columns, if any one column will be dependency and other column should not be dependent. So if that kind of column, if any was there in your table, then those columns are called as what now? Partially dependency columns we called. Okay, for simple your understanding, for example, in a family, when the childrens are having father and mother, okay, na, in a family the childrens are having father and mother, then those childrens are called a fully dependency childrens. If in a family childrens are having only mother, there is no father, only father, there is no mother, then it is called a partially dependency. Simple logic. Okay, now don't confuse. What is a partial dependence means? Any one parent is there. If it is father there, there is no mother. Mother is there, but there is no father. So that means children are depends on any one person. The children are depending on parents. That which one? Father. If there is no mother, then these are depending on only father. That means it is called a partially dependency. In some families, children are completely depending on mother. There is no father. Then it is also called a partially dependency. But the children are having both of them. Parents. That means father is there, mother also there in a family, then those children are called a fully dependency. This is the meaning of that partial and fully. Now clear all of you now? Right. So now come to here one of the table, carefully observe. Score is my table. And in this table, they have a 4 columns. Out of 4 columns, the first 2 columns I applied a composite primary key. So that means the first 2 columns are which type of columns? Primary key columns. And marks teacher, these 2 columns are non-primary key columns. Okay, now? Non-primary key. That means non-primary key means what now? Non-key columns. So now you just observe. Marks is always depends on both of them. Because when you get a marks, you need a student as well as a subject. So student and subject, the marks column depends on both columns, student ID column and a subject ID column. Because students are writing examinations to get a marks on particular subject. So marks is depends on both columns, student ID as well as subject ID. So when marks column is depending on both the primary key columns, okay, then it is called a fully dependency, we called. But whereas come to second one, you can see what is the second one? Teacher. Teacher is depends on student or subject. Subject. So teacher is never depends on student. Student is teacher is always depends on subject. Okay, now so that means student ID, subject ID both are primary keys, but teacher column is depends on only subject but not student. Because subject is a permanent for the teacher, but student is not a permanent. So now tell me, now teacher is a fully dependency column or partially dependency? Partially dependency. Suppose you will be find if any column is like that in your table designing phase, then the type of columns, if anything you found, then those columns I need to separate. Separate means what I want to do on this table, decomposing I have to perform. So that means this one table score table data. Now I want to split into 2 tables. And one table you can keep it your fully dependency columns. In another table you can separate partial dependency columns. Okay, now so now I'm going to separate here. This table I will be divided into 2 tables. I'm dividing. First table separately subject table. In this, I'm keeping subject ID, subject name, and teacher. Another table is called as a score table, student ID, subject ID, marks. Now tell me. Now in these 2 tables, now you found any partially dependence column? In subject table, do you have any partially dependency? No. Because subject ID, if you treat it as a primary key, then subject name and teacher both are depends on what is a subject ID. So there is no partially. And composite here below score table also can see marks are depends on both of them. So here also no partial dependency. So that means now in these 2 tables there is no partially dependency columns. So that means now these 2 tables are comes under second normalization form. Okay, so second normalization form, what it was concluded that in your table, if any partially dependency columns are, if you found, those columns will separate and keep into another separated table. That's it. And your table should not contain partially dependency columns. This is second rule is going to be telling us. And this rule is also in real time, the database people first checking. First rule is 4 conditions are checking. After checking of first 4 rules, then after checking any partial dependencies are there or not there. If it is there, decomposing. If it is not there, then it is not going to be decomposed. Okay, na? So this is what second technique will be telling us. And come to the third technique. What it was tell us the third technique now. Third technique is also, suppose your table, your table want to satisfy the third level, the third hierarchy or third form. If you want to satisfy, again your table should satisfy 2 conditions. One is a your table should be in the second normal form. Second normal form, what it was tell us, there is no partially dependency columns. And extra we need to satisfy here, and it should not have transitive dependency columns. What is the latest technique here? Transitive dependency columns. So that should not be have it here. So now the question is, what is a transitive dependency, sir? Okay, now first definition understand. Transitive dependency is nothing but in a table, if non-key column means non-primary key column depends on non-key column. So a non-primary key column depends on another non-primary key column. Understand now? A non-primary key column is depends on another non-primary key column. Okay, non-primary key column, then we called as what now? Transitive dependencies. So non-primary key, non-primary key. If these two columns are dependency to each other, then the columns are called as what now? Transitive dependencies we called. So now the transitive dependencies, okay, now careful observe. A, B, C, D, these are the four columns. In this A comma B are called a key columns. Key columns means primary key column. C comma D are non-key column. Then D depends on C but not A and B. A and B what? Primary key. So your C don't depend on A and B. Your C depends on only D. Okay, a D depends only C but not A and B. So that kind of columns are called as a transitive. Now you are careful observe, don't hurry burry, think practically and tell me. Suppose here same score table, previously whatever I'm taking. Student ID, subject ID, both are composite primary keys. Both are primary key columns. Non-primary key columns are marks, examination name, total marks. And marks column, definitely it was a depends on both of them. Then this is called a fully dependency column. It is a fully dependency column. I just leave it that. Remaining two columns are with their examination name and total marks. So examination name is of course it's depending on again both student ID and subject ID. So that is a fully dependency. But whereas come to total marks. Now tell me, total marks depends on where marks are or examination names are. Think carefully. Your subject total marks. Your marks means what now? Your obtained marks. But I wanted what now? Total marks. Total marks are you consider as your obtained marks or as you written examinations marks? Examinations marks consider as the total marks. Out of the total marks, what your marks obtained? For example, 10th class. In Telugu states, 10th class people, they're writing almost 11 examinations. They're writing 11 examinations. Now it was there now. Now change na. Now only 6 but in starting level, the 4 to 5 years back, I think so. So they're writing how many? 11 exams. 11 exams, how they are writing here? Maths 1, Maths 2, Paper 1, Paper 2. So 2 examinations total marks, that means 2 examinations marks will be added. Then they will give a final total marks. So Paper 1 50, Paper 2 50. Then what is your mathematics total marks? 100. In out of 100, what you obtained, that is your marks. Yes or no? Like in 10th class, total marks is how much? 600? In Telugu state, I'm telling. 600? 600. 600 is the total marks of your 10th board. Yes or no? 10th board total marks? 600. This 600, how they calculated? With total 11 examinations. 11 examinations marks will consider as a total marks of your 10th board. Understand now? So nowadays you can see competitive examinations. In competitive examinations also, preliminary mains are there. Yes or no? Preliminary examination marks and mains examination marks both considered as a total. In that total, what you obtained, that is your merit. That is your merit. So here tell me, Now, total marks is not depends on marks, is not depend on subject, is not depend on student. It's a depending on what now? Examination name. Examination name. I think you also in BTech, you have a external exams, internal exams. Yes or no? Theory, practical. Theory is 75, practical 25. In some subjects, I'm telling now. Yes or no? Suppose in your semester, for example, BTech first year, first semester, total how many subjects? Six?
Remains in